Duolingo is a language learning app that has been around for a little while now, but in its lifetime, it has seen its share of ups and downs. But this last chapter might be its final hurrah. The app has long been questioned as a legitimately good way of learning a language, and the truth is they've put a lot more effort into making the app addictive than helpful, and cultivating the presence of their mascot Duo. And this on its own should give you an idea of where the company was heading already. But then they went all in on AI and things got even worse. The Duolingo story is maybe one of the most illustrative of how a tech company premised on a fundamentally good idea can quickly become corrupted into a speculative investment vehicle that now not only fails to do what it was built to do, but is actively harming the world around it in the process. Is this the death of Duolingo? Today's video is sponsored by Storyblocks. Alright, so not to flex on you guys too hard, but I can speak a little bit of French here with relative fluency when the time calls for it. Non, maman, j'ai besoin pas l'assistance, je suis un grand garçon maintenant. That was for you, Mom. So yes, your boy is Duolingo'd in the sense that I can speak two languages, but I've also used Duolingo in the past to try and learn Spanish when we were traveling around Mexico. Now, from a completely unscientific standpoint, I would say that the app was fun, but I didn't learn a lot of Spanish with it, which is not really a hot take anymore. See, we wrote this script back in 2022, and there was none of the AI drama that we're going to be talking about today. At that time, Duolingo was known for gamifying the language learning landscape and producing Duo, their little mascot character. The truth is, Duolingo did a pretty good job at making language learning fun, but they mostly mastered the art of social media. The Duo Owl character wasn't just like a mascot that they put on their branding. It became a cultural icon. Without a doubt, its presence online and the company's reputation through this bird was one of the main reasons why it has become the world's most popular language learning app by a huge margin. But the Duo character is really where we've seen the pendulum swing the most. This once beloved character became the subject of hatred and negativity as Duolingo announced its push into AI. Suddenly, this guilt-free educational app became a punching bag online, and their beloved owl mascot was at the center of it. But first, I think we need to clarify something, because I don't think you really understand how weird Duolingo's success really is. Like, not only is this a publicly traded company, it is a very highly valued publicly traded company. This single goofy little app is worth more than a lot of other very big companies on the stock market today. And once again, I will remind you that this is a language learning app, not a subsidiary of a larger tech company or something. This brand has been fighting for your attention alongside the biggest players in the game, like YouTube and TikTok and Instagram. And they're not even using fake news or violence or sex appeal or an algorithm hack to keep you engaged as long as possible. They're a language learning app. And they have done this despite the fact that most people in North America only know one language and aren't planning on learning another one. But they've somehow got over 50 million daily users on their app as of recording this video. There have been people using Duolingo every day for over 10 years, and people's multi-day streaks have become all-consuming and in some cases borderline toxic. This language learning app embodies so many of the tricks and the tools that we see everywhere today trying to use our limited attention against us, but they did it. And the way that they did it is fascinating. Depressing, yes, but fascinating. And do you know what else I think is fascinating? The fact that some people aren't using Storyblocks to get access to stock media right at their fingertips whenever they want. Thank you to Storyblocks for sponsoring today's video, because imagine you needed a close-up shot of a hand scrolling on a cell phone, or a royalty-free walkthrough of a Vegas casino. Boom, you got those things on Storyblocks. These are the kinds of things that we use all the time to make these videos, and we wouldn't be able to do it if it weren't for Storyblocks, quite seriously. They are a stock media subscription that helps creatives and businesses of any size make videos with royalty-free 4K and HD footage After Effects and Premiere Pro templates, music, images, sound effects, and so many other assets with unlimited downloads, all for one predictable subscription cost. They give you everything that you need and more to create high-quality video content, plus their library is 100% human-made, no generative AI content, which is another great reason why we use them. And now getting a little deeper for those of you who are actively creating right now, the Storyblocks plugin for Adobe Premiere Pro and After Effects helps you make videos faster by allowing them to search, download, and try out different content from all over the library, millions of royalty-free stock assets directly within the Adobe Creative Cloud. There's a lot of tools in the world that maybe you don't need, but this tool, baby, oh my goodness. We have genuinely been using Storyblocks for the entire lifetime of this channel, which is amazing. It's like 4 years now. And we couldn't make these videos without them. So it's huge to get a sponsorship from a company that we genuinely use all the time. It's an awesome source of creativity. And if you want to check them out, use the link down in our description. You can get started with unlimited stock media downloads at one set price. So head over to storyblocks.com/Levi Hildebrand, or once again, use that link down in the description. Thank you to Storyblocks. Now let's get back into the video. See, Duolingo was the first tech company to truly master the art of gamification. And today you see these tricks being inserted into almost everything. Fitness trackers and apps like Strava, and rideshare apps and food delivery apps, online shopping platforms like Temu, and really any kind of reward point program that you see. But Duolingo takes us to a whole other level. Basically, they employ strategies used in the video game industry to keep users engaged, having fun, and feeling like they're progressing or leveling up through some kind of epic journey. Their streak system is really the center of this whole thing though. A point system that encourages you to check in at least every day and to complete daily quests. But Duolingo and their famous mascot are famously pushy. If you got notifications turned on, you are going to be subjected to the most aggressive one-person group chat you've ever been a part of. But to sort of soften this aggressive and off-putting upsell behavior, they had to create Duo as this cute but sort of scary, funny character that makes this digital harassment okay. Like a really annoying yappy dog that often bites people, but is forgiven because it's just so darn cute, you know? They leaned into this fully, producing their own content and tongue-in-cheek marketing to keep up the bit. And it really did work for them for like a long time, until it didn't. So Duolingo announces that they're going all in on AI, and the internet turns on them faster than the fucking Roadrunner in my morning cartoons as a kid. Count your fucking days, Duolingo, because the internet is pissed. Within hours, they become a trendy thing to hate, and everyone is convinced that this announcement is going to be the platform's undoing. Just read, look, these are some of the things people were saying on Reddit. The backlash was so bad, they literally deleted everything from their TikTok and Instagram accounts. People are rage canceling their subscriptions. TikTok creators are telling masses to delete their accounts. Now they're just begging people to come back to them. And this one, which we're going to be talking about in a little bit, those human translators they fired, they're the ones who actually understand that "I'm pregnant" doesn't translate the same way in every Spanish-speaking country, or that some phrases will get you weird looks in certain regions. Now, that is technically true, except most of this is not true. Turns out they actually beat their quarterly earning estimates when they announced this. And in fact, by every metric, this announcement has only made the numbers that they wanted to go up. Their TikTok and Instagram are also back up too, with very little drama. But the truth is that this is not really the sexy story that we want to hear, right? Like, I wanted to write this script, believe me, and tell you that Duolingo went crawling back to its users, begging forgiveness. Everybody's just boot stomping Duo into the fucking curb. But that's just not it. And there's two things that are going on here. First of all, this was an example of the divide that can sometimes happen between the internet and reality. Because the truth is, it's a hell of a lot easier to like a post and comment on a post telling people to delete their Duolingo app than it is for people to actually do it. Like, we titled this video in the way that we did because we know that people love a story about a beloved app falling from grace because they wronged people by adopting AI, you know? Like, it's very trendy right now to hate AI, and we love to see a big company get bashed. And these videos often get sort of trendified online. Like, you'll see multiple users posting very similar kinds of videos, calling for the boycott of a particular brand or a particular thing that's going on. But that often doesn't translate to the real world. Boycotts and viral hatred just doesn't really translate to the bottom line for companies in many cases. We actually created a whole series talking about why boycotts don't work, and maybe unsurprisingly, those videos didn't perform very well on this platform. But what companies like Starbucks and Tesla and Duolingo are learning is that drama isn't really a bad thing. In fact, in many cases, the increased attention derived from dramatic headlines can be a good thing for business. And the second aspect of this is that this announcement was, yes, probably a blunder from a public perception standpoint, because, you know, you're announcing that you're all in on AI when people are historically hating AI more than they ever have. But this was probably just an overreaction, right? Because if you look at their announcement, they're pretty adamant that this AI rollout is not going to be eliminating full-time workers. In fact, as per a variety of sources that I found online, there weren't any mass layoffs as a result of this announcement. A lot of the big critiques of this move towards AI was the fact that language is an inherently human thing. And Duolingo has actually always struggled with the human side of language. And perhaps ironically, they're hoping that this AI push is going to make this better. Now, before you think that I'm AI pilled, that I'm one of the boys, all in on NVIDIA chips, I'm very much a skeptic and probably more negative about the way the AI is being utilized right now than most, which is saying something because most people hate it right now. But I have had to admit to myself, through the researching of this video, that ultimately AI is a tool, and it is a tool that may be specifically very useful in language learning. A fellow YouTuber, Evan Edinger, has talked about this extensively on his channel, and he's used the platform himself to learn multiple languages. And from what he explains, the AI rollout basically allowed Duolingo to produce more bad storylines to learn from. But also that ultimately, this is going to be the future of language learning. Apparently, the reality is that in many cases, people who are learning languages today are using AI bots like ChatGPT already to deepen and personalize their learning journey. Essentially, AI just gives you more responsive language learning experiences, giving users the ability to practice in more realistic ways. You can put in a question specifically about something that you're interested in, and it will respond to you in the language that you're trying to learn. Like, it is kind of intuitive that you don't just follow some standard generic timeline of things based on subject matters that you're not like particularly interested in. Like, I remember with Duolingo, it was always like learning about the biblioteca or something, or, you know, it's like, well, how many fucking libraries am I going to be going to in Mexico?
Hola, me llamo Abed.
Hola, me llamo Troy.
¿Dónde está la biblioteca?
La biblioteca está en la ciudad.
Gracias.
Hacks.
And the reality is, we're probably still early days yet with how AI is going to work in this context, and it's only going to get better. So Duolingo has already started working on this with their latest features through Duolingo Max, which is their highest paid tier. It's the only tier where you can really access a lot of the stuff, and it's kind of cool, sadly. This AI-powered tool allows Duolingo Max subscribers to engage in spontaneous, realistic conversations with Lily, one of Duolingo's most popular characters. It's smart. Like, is it as responsive and intuitive as you'd sort of think that it would be? No, not quite yet, but you can easily imagine a world where it is. These are going to be AI assistants that are designed to, yes, guide you through some lessons about a language, but also affirm your learning and encourage you to keep going. Because remember, to keep you engaged with all of these new features, it will be essential that you develop a certain level of emotional connection with them in order to keep coming back. One of the top comments on this video is finally a girl I can talk to. Dude, it's so bleak. We're gonna have AI girlfriends. We're gonna have AI girlfriends, and it's so not good. It's not good. I'm a boomer about this. I'm a boomer about this one in particular. It can't be good. I don't think it's good. But okay, this is not actually a video about whether or not AI and large language models can be used as an effective tool for learning a language. Because, remember, Duolingo was never the best language learning tool. They were simply the most addictive. So here is my prediction. I think that Duolingo is going to push the envelope into personalized AI assistants in order to create profits for shareholders. In Evan's video, he shows that Duolingo has essentially used this AI technology to wedge and push users out of the free version and into their paid tiers by basically making the free tier impossible to use. His video is really awesome. You should go watch it if you're really, really interested in this stuff. But he literally gets Lily, the chatbot, to admit that their new tier system is basically just a money grab. But critically, it's not just about making money off subscriptions. Yes, that's helpful. But remember, Duolingo became the most popular language learning app on the planet because people were addicted to it. And so what they're gonna do is, they're gonna take everything that they learned from their Duo character, the popularity, the virality, and the sort of emotional connection that people developed with that character, and they're gonna put it into the AI assistant. What was really interesting for me in the research process for this video was that more than maybe a lot of other tech companies out there, Duolingo has to adopt AI as quickly as possible because in the very near future, basically any AI-powered chatbot is going to be able to teach you how to learn a language. The only way that Duolingo can stand out and continue to retain millions of users, especially when they're paying $30 a month, is by creating an emotional connection with the AI that they create. And it might be coming sooner than we expect. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you in the next episode.